Welcome back to the leading edge of integrative mental health. I'm your host, Lisa Dale Miller. Please review and subscribe to the Groundless Ground podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, YouTube, radio.com, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and of course find out more at groundlessground.com. I'm ready to go. How about you? Like many of you, I've had a lot of activities canceled over the last week or so. I was supposed to be teaching at Marin Sangha tomorrow. Obviously, that is not happening. So I thought in lieu of that I would maybe offer some kind of short teaching for anyone who's having some difficulty with anything surrounding the COVID-19 situation. More than once this week, I reminded myself and a few others that these are the very times for which we engage in meditative practice. Chaos and uncertainty, this is the rich soil of awakening. I promise you, this is not some kind of spiritual bypass. Human suffering is always the cause for awakening, primarily because we humans have an unfortunate habit of thinking we know, relying on internal predictive narratives that seem oh so true, and in the end turn out to be limited and inaccurate depictions of the way things actually are. Maybe some of you have a better sense of what Buddhism means when it reminds us of emptiness, the inherent, interdependent arising of all phenomena. Everyone and everything is intimately interconnected. Nothing and no one is left out, globally or microcosmically. This is reality. Can you feel the human reality of frailty and imperfection intruding on our mind's delusions of separateness and specialness? Knowing this is the cause of awakening. Recognizing imperatives in the midst of impermanence wakes us up to our responsibilities as members of and contributors to society. On a practical level, some of you may have noticed the worst attributes of the human mind spilling out everywhere, locally and nationally. Hoarding necessary supplies for health and well-being is happening everywhere. If others don't have hand sanitizer, soap, thermometers, Tylenol, etc., how will the self-centered among us stay healthy? So don't get lost in fear. It's a flu virus, not a nuclear disaster. Generosity, humility, renunciation, compassion, clarity, and wisdom, these are the key practices for us right now. Practice recognizing and reining in selfishness and reactivity, hatred and greed, ignorance and unethical conduct. We're being asked to socially distance. This can be hard for some, both those who crave social engagement and those who isolate from others. Of great help is to shift your mindset into a compassionate stance with respect to social distancing and spending more time in your home. We can see ourselves as warriors, committed to being a force for safety, health, and well-being for ourselves, those we love, those we don't know personally, and our fellow citizens. We are not hiding away in fear. There is nothing to fear except wasting this precious time to engage in more inner insight, creative activities, opening deeper connection with the people you share your living space with. Even those who you might find challenging, they help us practice compassion and wisdom in our relations with them. Whenever you remember, remind yourself that less social contact for the next couple of weeks is an act of great generosity to yourself, your loved ones, and all beings around us. Use this time to do projects and activities you never have time for. For those of you who suffer with depression and anxiety and are socially distancing at home, get online. So many sanghas have switched their offerings to live online teachings. If you have more time available, take an online class, learn a new skill or hobby, do more self-care. And remember, if you're not ill with cold or flu, get outside and exercise a lot more, especially if you normally work out at a gym. Nature is the best healer, especially if you live in an area with natural beauty. And above all else, be loving and patient with the discomfort that all of this is happening, and of course the discomfort of those you come in contact with. These are the times for which we practice meditation, mindfulness, virtue, patience, wisdom, compassion, generosity, renunciation, and diligence, not just on the cushion, out in your life. Think of those in our society who are poor or uneducated, and those who are homeless and don't have a home to sequester in. Think of those who live in homes with individuals who are threatening or unhealthy. This is the time for us to have these people in mind. And since many of us are not out spending our money on entertainment or eating out, give your resources to those who need them. Be generous. When you're out in a store, thank the staff for being there, for serving you and others in the midst of this viral outbreak. And remember, practicing in the midst of distressing times is really the only antidote to suffering, boredom, anger, aversion, and craving. So I'd like to offer you a very simple practice you can do anytime you wish. If you find yourself in the midst of your own internal distress, which can come in any form, including boredom, being in your home, for some people, they don't have a lot of interesting things they think they can do. So boredom can come up, and boredom leads to a lot of activity that's not very healthy for people. So if you find yourself in a moment like that, I want you to look around you and think to yourself, I will bet there are people having this very same feeling of boredom, but maybe they are not in conditions that are as conducive to safety or well-being right now. And I want you to first feel gratitude for what you've got. And then second, open your heart very deeply and see the myriad numbers of people in this country who do not have what you have. And then do loving kindness. And this is not some dumb thing. Wish them safety, health, well-being. See them with a roof over their heads. See them with enough funds to feed themselves. And if you do this with enough intentionality, you might actually find yourself following up with action, finding a worthy organization that is serving these people right now and is providing these resources for them. If you find yourself out of your home, going out, or maybe those of you who are still going to work, if you come upon people who aren't behaving very well because of their own stress around all of this, do the same thing. Open your heart. See them calmer, with more clarity, and allow yourself to really wish that for them. And then ask yourself, is there something I can do to help? That might be a smile. Something as simple as that can actually be helpful. If you can materially help in some way, do it. Compassion and compassionate action is the main practice right now for all of us. So I offer this to you and I encourage you as best you can. Use this in these next few weeks, which are going to be challenging for us all. I wish all of you health and well-being.
Thanks for listening to today's show. To get in touch, please visit groundlessground.com. Let's dedicate our efforts to the healing of our planet and all its inhabitants. See you next time on the Groundless Ground.